Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jordan Webb. So far this trimester, we've looked at a number of design theories that have influenced society throughout the centuries. For the purpose of this presentation, I have chosen 6 design theories that interest me, and I will be discussing their origins, their impact, and more. The first design theory I'll be looking at is Art Nouveau. This movement was most prominent during the years 1890 to 1910, and it was an evolution of the arts and crafts movement. The floral designs of William Morris had a strong influence on the progression of the Art Nouveau movement. It also drew influence from Japanese woodblock prints like the works of Utagawa Kunisada, which were imported into Europe during the 1870s. Art Nouveau is a total art style, encompassing many aspects of design, fine art, and decorative art. Its influence extended through to architecture, painting, interior design, jewellery, furniture, and more. Much like arts and crafts, Art Nouveau was a reaction against the mass production of the industrial age. It placed an emphasis on the designer as a master craftsman, producing works that were not easily replicable. The style was highly decorative and ornate, drawing inspiration from the natural form and often featuring floral adornments and implementing the use of curved lines. The next theory I've chosen to focus on is modernism. As society started to progress and evolve, people began to reject the traditions of the past. Unlike Art Nouveau, modernists embraced the Industrial Revolution. They saw industrialization as a step towards utopia, and the theory was shaped by the rapid growth of cities and society. During the early 20th century, there were many influential modernist artists. Painters such as Pablo Picasso are still held in high regard today. Their style was defined by the rejections of past practices. Instead, artists like Picasso expressed themselves through new, untried, and experimental means. The influence of modernism has had a long and lasting effect on artists and designers in the years since. In the 50s, Jackson Pollock rose to fame. Pollock was an abstract expressionist, an art style that's defined by the use of gesture to create expression. He cites Picasso and the work of many modernists as having a profound influence on his practice. The 1960s were a time of great change. An emerging counterculture began to sweep through and take hold of a generation. This was a time of social, musical, and artistic change, influenced heavily by the use of hallucinogenic drugs. This period became known as the psychedelic movement. This counterculture was guided by drugs, the music scene of the time, and underground phenomena such as Zap Comics, which acted as a showcase for cartoonist Robert Crumb and poster artists such as Rick Griffin and Stanley Mouse. The art style of this movement is best represented by the band posters that went into circulation for the local and international artists performing at that time. These posters drew inspiration from the Art Nouveau movement and made use of rich, saturated colours, interesting and ornate typography, and often a symmetrical composition. The next theory I'll be looking at is semiotics. Semiotics is the study of signs and signification and has been studied within philosophy and psychology for centuries. It's the study of meaning making, semiosis, and communication. It not only considers verbal signs, but written and visual signs too. Ferdinand de Saussure was known as the father of modern linguistics. He wrote that signs can be separated into 2 categories, the signifier and the signified. The signifier refers to the physical attributes of the sign, whereas the signified refers to the mental concept. More recently, Roland Barthes continued this study, expanding on the work of Saussure. The most well-known piece of semiotic art is by Belgian surrealist René Magritte. Titled The Treachery of Images, the piece is a simple painting of a pipe with the words, "This is not a pipe," painted beneath. The study of semiotics tells us that although this resembles a pipe, it can't be because it's a painting. The digital revolution began in the late 20th century. It's when the shift from mechanical and analog technologies to digital technologies occurred. Central to this revolution were the mass production and widespread use of circuit boards, as well as inventions like the cellular phone, the computer, and the internet. There were a number of tech companies that were leading the way for the digital revolution. Many of these companies have grown and flourished and become even more influential today. The best example of this would be Apple, the tech company that revolutionized the world with the introduction of the smartphone. The digital revolution was a response to our advancement in computing technologies. The mass distribution of new and emerging technology meant that artists had the ability to construct and to deconstruct type quickly and easily. Designers like David Carson utilized this deconstruction technique to revolutionize typography in the print format. Lastly, I'll be looking at socially responsible design and sustainability. We're approaching an age where our resources are depleting and our waste is damaging the planet. In order for us to progress towards a brighter future, it's important for all of us to adopt more sustainable techniques. As a society, we've progressed to a point where we have realized the harm that our rapid technological advancements has had on the world, and we're only now working towards rectifying the problems caused by this. We have progressed past the need for designing things, items to be used and disposed of, to now designing experiences, or belongings that can be kept, used, and reused. This movement is about shaping an ideology that will be passed on to our succeeding generations and, with luck, will lead to the creation of a better tomorrow. Thank you.